Hey guys, we're Philly and Keely and this is our van Martha.
After a year and a half of full-time van life in the UK, the time came to finally hit the road and go travelling. Thanks to Brexit, we only get 90 days within the EU before we have to leave again, and we decided to invest all of our 90 days in Spain. So we wanted to make a video basically summarising everything, breaking down the costs from diesel, food, what we did for internet, where we got our water, what it was like wild camping the whole time, and basically just try and make an informative video for anyone else who's thinking of doing the same thing, and to reassure you that van life in Spain is awesome. So let's get stuck in to our ultimate guide to van life in Spain.
Woo! So to give you a little bit of context of how we spend our money, we just thought we'd tell you the type of people that we are.
So obviously you've got lots of different people, some people who like to do very luxurious things, some people who like to go super basic, and I think that we're kind of in the middle but on the lower end of basic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or basic. Throughout this video we'll talk about our costs, but obviously you might need to scale stuff up or down based on what you like to do, and we're going to keep everything in euros just to make it more simple to follow through the costs. So we've converted anything in pounds to euros to make it simple.
Yeah. So before we talk about van life in Spain, let's talk about the things that we had to do to get to Spain.
Our journey for us, we're from Northern Ireland in the UK, so we drove down to Dublin, took the ferry from Dublin across into France, and then had to drive down through France into Spain. So for us, the associated costs for that were obviously the ferry. So all costs are for the two of us and the van, and that was 321 euros.
Now there's other ways you could have done this. You could have got the ferry straight from Ireland to Spain.
Yeah, or you could obviously get the Eurotunnel if you're in England, or the ferry there, but this was the route we took. So at the time of us leaving, you had to have PCR tests. So for both of us to get our PCR tests for the ferry, it cost 85 euros each, so that's a total of 170 euros. Maths.
So travelling through some countries in Europe, you also need to have a few things with you. You need to have, if you're from the UK, a GB sticker on your van, a high-vis vest, a triangle, and also your headlight deflectors as well, because you're driving on the other side of the road. You should have your travel insurance green card printed out with you. I mean, you can have it on your phone, but we like to just have papers because it's easier to hand them over. And then also for us, we got travel insurance. It's obviously recommended everywhere you get travel insurance, and we just got a 6-month backpacker one through AA, and it cost 125 euros. And just because we had heard that some countries don't let you in without COVID cover insurance, so we just made sure we got some like COVID pack, and then that covered us, and that was okay. Also, I know that some activities that you might want to do when you're abroad also require you to have some sort of travel insurance, so that just ticks that box as well. Yeah. So we're going to tell you everything we spent this entire time we're in Spain. A precursor to that is to say that we had some one-off purchases. So somebody on Instagram said, what was an unexpected cost? So for us, an unexpected cost was when our GoPro broke. Bought a GoPro, we bought accessories, we had to buy a new hard drive for all our video editing, and they were like one-off things associated to us. And then we also bought snorkeling and water shoes. So maybe more people will buy those. We'll put a discount code in. Actually, we don't actually have. Yeah, but honestly, people need to go buy the water shoes, because in Spain the beaches and stuff are very pebbly. There's a lot of rocks, and they're like, so they're my first tip for Spain: buy water shoes. So in total of our budget, unfortunately, one-off purchases for us was 639 euros, which is a lot. When you look at the stuff down on paper, it's a bit scary. It is a bit scary. But they were one-off purchases. Now we've set aside the stuff that is like unique to us and one-off experiences. Let's get stuck into the main thing that everyone's going to care about, is diesel and the van. I don't want us to be standing in the same position all video, so will we mix it up a little? Let's mix it up. Alright, that's better, isn't it? So, let's get stuck into talking about diesel. So from getting off the ferry in France and our 3 months around Spain, our total mileage was 3,737 miles, or that is 6,014 kilometers. And during our 3 months here, we filled up a total of 12 times, totaling 670 euros. So that's basically like 100 euros per 1,000 kilometers type thing.
I have no idea if that's good.
I have no idea if that's good or bad, but that's our reality.
I'm going to say it's good.
So if you're going to like drive around more, obviously scale that up per 1,000 kilometers, like €100 or less, scale it down. But for us, 670. That's all right for 3 months of full-time travel. So another thing to know about Spain is that all its toll roads have been abolished.
Yes!
So there was no tolls in Spain. It was super easy to drive in.
Good job, Spain.
It was good. But I would say that their junctions are a bit weird. But ultimately the drivers and all were okay.
Yeah, Spain was generally good.
Another thing I would say linked to the van and general maintenance and driving in Spain is before you're going to do a big long journey, make sure you check your oil and make sure you check your water. I don't know why, but we seem to need to top up a lot more. I've no idea about the physics of an engine, so I'm not sure if it's related to the heat or not. Just check for yourself. Every time you're going away on a long drive, check your water, get some coolant in it, check your oil, make sure your wipers are all liquefied up and...
Liquefy those wipers.
You know what I mean?
Put water in your windscreen wipers.
Yeah, 'cause it gets very dusty in these roads, so make sure your wipers are all...
Brief note, if you're spending a lot of time by the sea or in a dry country, your solar panels will get super dirty and dusty.
Really dirty.
So you might want to just keep on top of that every couple of days or every other week or something like that. So the next thing we want to talk about are park-ups. Generally it felt really safe. We didn't have any problems parking up anywhere. There's loads of free park up spots as well. We didn't stay in a campsite once.
We wild camped the whole time. There were loads on Park for Night, but also we didn't always use Park for Night. We climb a lot, so we would look up a climbing spot and then park near it. Or just like generally if we were going through somewhere and like we see a nice lay-by or something, we could park there.
Also, a shout out to some people on Instagram. They hit us up with some really cool spots as well on the way down through.
Just don't be afraid to ask people who've already been in Spain for park-ups, because we know from Spain and even here in Croatia, if you ask people, everyone wants to tell you the sweet spots. Everyone wants people to enjoy where they've been. What I would say is we're a bit of a unique situation because we lived in London in the van for a year, so we're totally okay with stealth camping. We don't mind parking in estates or like
when we have to
in the city and stuff. So but if you're not used to that and you're not comfortable doing that, there are tons of wild camping spots.
And obviously on that note as well, like when we do have to park in estates or cities, you're being pretty stealthy, and thankfully our van looks pretty stealthy from the outside, so we can kind of get away with that on a one-off now and again.
But apart from a little bit of the coast, kind of around Barcelona, where we've seen a lot of people mention burglaries, we felt really safe in Spain. Don't let stuff like that freak you out. Like, that's not Spain as a whole, and I would say if you stay in more naturey spots, you're not going to have that issue. But like our experience with London as well, if you're in a city, crime's just a thing, you know.
Unfortunately, and I think as well, you need to just trust your gut a lot of the time.
Yeah, because in Valencia, like, we felt totally fine, and it's a city, we weren't worried. But then, like, when we got close to Barcelona, you know, we just felt a bit like, ugh. So yeah, go with your gut. Don't stress. There's so much beautiful places to park. So our parking costs for our whole time in Spain was 0. Yeah?
Woohoo!
Woo! There are people that might not feel so confident stealth camping, and you might want to stay at campsites, and like there's plenty of them too. I have no idea the cost of them because we didn't stay at them. But because we didn't have campsites, we had to figure out like water, laundry,
other amenities,
all that stuff we had to work out for ourselves. So that did cost us a little bit, but like pretty much nothing.
So for water, thankfully Spain, as well as France and a lot of other European countries, have places that you can rock your van up and you can empty your wastewater. You can empty, if you've got a chemical toilet, you can empty it there, and you can fill up your water as well. So thumbs up for that. It's really, really good. They seem to be in all small towns and larger cities as well. There's always access to that. And if you're not sure if it's drinking water, there's also a lot of taps around everywhere that you can fill up your drinking water.
There's drinking taps in pretty much all little towns, little cute ornate taps and stuff. Park for Night also has a function where you can look up water spots. I don't think you'd be searching for long to find one, to be honest.
No, really easy. On public beaches as well, peppered with water taps. It's like water was definitely just very easy to come by.
So much easier than the UK. Like, I just can't describe how much easier it was.
if you were ever like stuck in an emergency, you know, you can buy 8 litres of water from Lidl for like 72 cents or something. So
Yeah, that's right.
So water, free and easy. On the topic of water is also toilets and showers. We're quite fortunate that when we were here, COVID was on its way out, so like cafes and bars and stuff were all still open. So if you wanted to go to a public toilet, you know, you could find them in like the towns and stuff, or in shops.
Beaches, stuff, all have public toilets on the beaches and showers as well.
Yeah. So obviously we don't have a shower in the van, but also I should note that we don't use product in our hair. So like both of us have not washed.
As you can see
from the grease. So we don't use any products, so we're quite happy to just wash in nature.
Slimmo. No.
Gorgeous. So yeah, we can just shower at a beach and it doesn't bother us. Obviously if you like use lots of products and want to have a hot shower, then you'd maybe have to go to a campsite, or like I hear about people going to like spa days and stuff like that. But we're dirt bags. We just wash in the sea, or you know, we're
in a waterfall.
We're in the water like pretty much every day. We were in water, so showers weren't an issue for us. But if you really want a hot shower, you'd probably need to go to a campsite, so you'd need to factor that cost in.
Yeah.
For us also, we are super into climbing, so pre-COVID, usually if we'd go to a climbing centre, we could use a hot shower there, but it just so happens that during this time, don't think any showers were open in the gyms we went to.
No.
But who needs a hot shower when you've got Mother Nature, baby?
A couple of people have asked us about rubbish and waste and how we get rid of it in the van. Thankfully in Spain, it has been so easy. There are general waste bins and recycling bins absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
Like even when you're in the mountains and you haven't seen somebody for days, there's like a row of bins that like bin lorries come and empty every night. So thankfully that was super easy to keep on top of. Like you never have to worry about that.
So yeah, don't worry about rubbish, don't worry about recycling. Spain has got it all sorted out for you, so you won't be long waiting for one.
Bins.
Yay! As well as rubbish, some people asked us about laundry. So again, if you stay at a campsite,
Who washes clothes?
you
know?
I was getting there. If you're at a campsite, then obviously you can use the laundry at the campsite. But because we wild camped, we would just have to do laundry at a laundrette. I would say that they're pretty much everywhere in Spain. Again, in most like towns you can find one, and then also there's a lot of garages that have standalone ones or whatever. Just confess right now that we only did laundry 3 times we were in Spain, because like we said, we're like just in the sea every day or in a river. Like
it was mostly just to wash our bed sheets.
Yeah, it was
really.
just to wash our bed sheets. Like we hand washed our underwear and stuff just to like keep them going. Yeah, we just didn't really need to do laundry that often. But when we did,
also in 40-degree heat, you're not wearing
you're
many
not
clothes.
wearing pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
You're lucky when I put clothes on in 40 degrees heat.
It's true.
Anytime we did do laundry, it was only like €5 saved for a wash and a dry.
But it's like give or take €1. It's in around €6-7 for a wash and maybe like 30 minutes of drying.
And that's because we would do everything like our bed sheets all at once. So if you only wanted to go in and do a wee wash, like t-shirts and pants, I'm sure that'd be cheaper. But yeah, so that was our laundry situation. So scale that up or down for based on how much you think you'll do laundry. €5, €6, €7 should do you all right.
All right, and remember that they only take cash.
Yeah, they do only take cash.
Yeah.
Just to note that in Spain, a lot of the laundrette places have built-in detergent, so we brought our own anyway, just in case it wasn't very soapy.
Fresh.
But if you have like really sensitive skin or something, just to be aware that it might have soap already built in. So
there's an airplane.
Okay. Final thing in utilities to talk about is probably like internet and electric. So for us, thanks to Brexit and fair usage policy, both of our unlimited data was no longer unlimited. So after doing like a bit of research and stuff when we got to Spain, we realised the best thing for us to do was just to get a Spanish SIM.
Yeah, I can't recommend that enough.
Yeah, so we just went into, where was that?
Movie Star.
and it was €20 for 75 gigabytes a month. We just went and topped it up the 3 full months we were there. It was brilliant. So internet was good. Definitely get our Spanish SIM. That's our recommendation.
And we just have a little Wi-Fi dongle that we stick that SIM card in, and then that gives us Wi-Fi in the van.
Lastly is our electricity. I just wanted to touch on the fact that obviously we just use solar power, so our electricity was free.
Drone shot.
Okay, so our electricity was free, but just to be aware that even though Spain's really, really good for solar because, you know, you've sunshine all the time, so we had power all the time, it's also really, really hot, so your electronics might overheat. So that's just something to be aware of.
Big
Sun,
time.
good for power, not good for your electronics.
Yeah.
That's it. That's utilities done, I think. If there's any utilities that you think that we didn't mention and you have a question about, like, just throw it down below. We're happy to answer anything, talk about costs of anything else. But for us, utilities in Spain, we're basically free.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Another cost that's probably unique to us, we love climbing gyms as well, so anywhere where there's a good gym, we'll go to that.
Yeah, like we'd go there on edit days and just climb and then edit, and like people would talk to you, and then some people would recommend good climbing spots, and it was just really like chilled vibes. So in total over the 3 months we spent €123 at climbing gyms, but for us, like, it's totally worth it. And another thing about us is that we're absolute suckers for a vegan restaurant. So for like a nice coffee when we're at the climbing gym, or if we were somewhere and it had a vegan restaurant, we'd be like, well, we've got to go support them, you know. So over the 3 months, eating out was a total of €149 for us.
Not actually that bad.
So obviously if you like to get coffees out a lot or eat out a lot more, you can bump that up, and if you don't, then your cost might be zero, but ours was $149. So just to touch on, if you are vegan or vegetarian, it might be a bit harder to eat out in Spain, but what I will say is Lidl's had a brilliant vegan section.
Yeah, Spain has come a long way.
Yeah, Spain's definitely like leveled up on its vegan game, have to say.
That comparatively to surrounding countries,
yeah,
Spain
for sure.
is a winner. So when we first came to Spain, we wanted to shop around in all the different supermarkets just to get a feel for the price of stuff. And at the end of the day, we settled in Lidl's because it's got great fresh fruit and veg produce. It's got a great bio and organic section, and a really good vegan section as well, and veggie section. So,
and it's just the best value. We tried all the different branded places, and it is the best value. And
thanks, Lidl. Which is good because they're all exactly the same. You know that we can stock up on our endless supply of hummus.
Yeah, boy.
You know, and we have access to like the bio shots as well that we got addicted to.
Yeah, so we'll talk about our grocery breakdown and our cost of groceries, and then we'll admit how much we spent on bio shots. So like I said, we like fresh produce, so we shopped on average 3 times a week. So what I'd say is we're not super frugal, like, you know, we don't buy dry beans and soak them overnight. We would just buy a tin of beans, but simultaneously we wouldn't spend £3 on a tin of Heinz beans or something. Do you know what I mean? So I would say we don't worry about what we spend on food because we like food and it's the fuel for your body, but at the same time we're not wasteful.
Or foolish or wasteful. Yeah, that's good.
But in saying that,
we are wasteful.
We got addicted to these little bio shots, and over the 3 months I think we calculated that we spent like €100.
Yeah, pretty much.
So our average weekly shop, you know, including our obsession with these bio shots was...
Oh, hold on a minute. And your obsession with croissants? As soon as you found out there was croissants made with margarine?
So our overall shops for our 3 months in Spain, shopping about 3 times a week, around €23-24, came to a total time spending groceries of €935.
Is that a month?
That's for the 3 months.
Oh yeah, why would you eat that much food in a month? Wow.
But whenever we factored out our cost of our bio shots and our croissants, our basic shop was €800 for the 3 months. So for standard groceries, €800 for 3 months is how much we could live off, and then with those little extra luxuries, it came to $935.
And mileage may vary here. Everyone's diets are different, so if you're buying meat or anything, then that'll be factored into the cost, or if you're just buying like beans and rice, it's going to be different too. So to each their own.
Yeah, I think we're a kind of a middle ground, so you'll know yourself whether you're more or less.
Okay, so before we get into the final total summary breakdown of costs, I'll do some little graphs and stuff.
Oh, what a treat.
Just like, if you find a spot, don't be afraid to stay there. Don't feel you have to like drive all the time. Like, if you find a really beautiful spot, just kick back and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Someone said, like, you know, unexpected things or things to be aware of when going to Spain. One big one we noticed is all Spanish people go to the beach on the weekend. Like, don't they? Like, if you went to the beach during the week, it was quiet,
yeah,
and
really
then you'd go on a Saturday and it is heaving. So do your beach stuff during the week, and then go to the mountains, or you know, something a bit quieter during the weekends. That's my number one thing to be aware of.
Yeah.
Like, Spanish people are so lovely. Like, do you not think so? They're not rude. They are happy to help. They embarrassingly tend to speak much better English than we speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just such a chilled out place. The vibes are great. There's lots of other Spanish vanlifers here and stuff. There's lots of people from neighbouring countries.
Everybody's happy to have a
The
chat.
vibe is just chilled. Anything else?
And the wine is cheap.
And not just wine being cheap, another thing is diesel is cheap. So if you're coming through France and you're close to the border, only like top up a little bit in France, save your big fill till you get to Spain, because it's way cheaper.
Yeah, like literally 30 cents cheaper in
Yeah, like
places,
a good 20-30% cheaper for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's our summary of our experience, our advice, what we've learnt, and now we'll just break down the totals of our costs for yous. So for 3 months of just general living, so that's the cost of diesel, the cost of groceries, and the cost of our internet, it came to a total of €1,683. Is that right? Yeah, it is. The eating out and our climbing that we both love, those little luxuries, brought our 3 months total up to €1,955.
So for a grand total, including our cost of getting here with the ferry and everything, and our one-off purchases that we mentioned before, and then Keely had to get some medication as well, that took our grand total to $3,113.
Yeah, baby. So if you're happy to wild camp and just do the basics, food, driving around, etc., we would say that you can do that a 3 month stint for like €1,600. If you want to like eat out and stuff, like we said, about 2,000. And then I don't think anyone's going to have the big expensive costs we had. You could get here 3 months in Spain, pretty alright life, for about €2,500.
Yeah, your mileage will vary, but I hope that this can shine some lights on like the cost of some things in Spain.
So hopefully that's useful for you, us talking through our different costs, the different realities of what it's like in Spain, and I really hope it's convinced a lot of you to come and experience Spain in the van, because it's just so good. If there's any other questions or queries you want to know about what it was like in Spain, any stuff that we have missed, throw it down in the comments. We would really love to make this like a really useful video for people who are coming here.
Yeah.
And, you know, feel free to criticise how much we spend on bio shots and climbing.
Yeah.
Tell us what you would spend stuff on. Like, what are the luxuries that you know you would spend money on?
We're only human, guys. We're only human.
Yeah.
So if you find any of this information useful, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing as well.
Yeah. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and come back next week, because we put out videos every week for you guys. And now we're going to be starting our travel vlog series of Croatia.
Sounds good.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
We're both butting it.
Oh, look at
Accidental
us.
buns.
Twinnies.
No, don't do that.
Ew.